Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. It's a fun Friday, and we're going to have some fun today because Mount St. Helens and Mount Shasta are battling it out, with a few other mountains trying to get involved as well. Really interesting, something that can only happen on social media these days. Now, I have a travel channel, and volcano tourism is definitely something that's been really on the rise lately. People are flocking to Iceland, especially in light of what's been happening the past 6 months with the magma and eruptions around Grindavik. You can see some of my other videos about that up here. And around the world you have other places that are active. Merapi in Indonesia erupted this year, or late last year. Right now in Mexico there's some activity going on, an eruption. I was down in Pompeii just last February. Got to see Vesuvius there, which is not active, but we all know the history of Pompeii and Vesuvius, and it's a beautiful place to go visit if you get a chance. Etna in Sicily is still active, and a lot of people are just going to these places because they are so fascinating. And there are plenty of opportunities now to do these safely. So what happened here the other day? Well, just the other day on February 28th, as you see right here, Mount St. Helens is really erupting on social media. So a fellow named Rob Karlmark said, "California has the most iconic mountain in the lower 48. Meet Mount Shasta, 14K of pure glory." And it's a cool looking mountain. It's one of the volcanoes along the Pacific coast. And you start with Mount Baker in Washington, and of course then Rainier and St. Helens, Adams, Mount Hood, Mount Shasta, and it goes down the row. But Mount St. Helens was not so thrilled about that, and said, "Looks like a little to me." I think it's kind of hilarious, and this is actually the official Mount St. Helens, Washington Twitter account, X, and 300,000 people had liked Rob's initial tweet about Rainier. So in a follow-up post then, Mount St. Helens said, "Suck my ash hole." I dragged that out just because I want it to be almost safe for consumption by kids. But this is a couple of people having a lot of fun with the whole story here. And somebody else jumped in and said, "Hey, this one asks, did somebody mention mountains?" And of course, this is the Matterhorn. And it's an iconic mountain. Maybe one of the most recognizable peaks in the world. I don't think if you showed people a picture of Mount Shasta, they would know right away what mountain that is. It looks like many other mountains in that range. I know Mount Fuji is very iconic. Don't even need to talk about Everest, but there are mountains that are accessible, like the Matterhorn, through tourism, the Eiger, Mount Fuji, where you can walk up, you can stay overnight at different levels up on the mountain there. For me, Trecime de Lavaredo is absolutely iconic. It was always famous within Europe, and I think the American mainstream got a hold of it once they saw the beginning of the movie Cliffhanger with Sylvester Stallone, where they're doing some kind of rope work across between two of the three chimneys there, and somebody falls and oops. That's the way the movie starts. So pretty rough movie, but hey, and these people are just going on now and having fun. And the response to the Matterhorn post was priceless too, from Mount St. Helens. They're like, "A Disney ride? Come on." Of course, referring to Disney World and Disneyland that have this ride with the small version of the Matterhorn. Now somebody else came in and said, back to Mount St. Helens, they're like, "Nah, your big sister looks a hell of a lot sexier out my living room window with her top on," which is great wordplay too, because of course Rainier has not erupted in hundreds and hundreds of years. I think it's at least 500 years. I'll put some links in the description below about the history of the eruptions that are known from some of those peaks like Shasta and Rainier. Now Rainier is also, it's a big 14,000er, 14K, like Shasta and dozens of mountains in Colorado. And it's actually, if it were to blow up, it would be really tragic. I mean, when St. Helens blew in May of 1980, you lost several dozen people. I think 57 people died in that, and only that few because of how remote Mount St. Helens is. Mount Rainier is prominent from downtown Seattle and extremely prominent from downtown Tacoma. And if there were to be an eruption with a pyroclastic flow going west away from Rainier, Tacoma and several other towns, small cities around there would be in great jeopardy. So it's definitely a mountain that we always hope will not erupt. So, of course, Mount St. Helens, not to be outdone by the big sister with her top on, comes back and says eruptile dysfunction is a real thing. And it just, I was on the floor laughing. This was incredible. And again, referencing to the fact that Rainier has not erupted while Mount St. Helens has. Not sure that's a good thing, but it is what it is. And then, of course, other people replying with pictures of Mount St. Helens. I actually flew from Seattle down to LA in late January, and got a great picture out the window of the plane. Really fantastic views when you're flying in and out of Seattle or Portland, of a lot of these mountains, Mount Rainier, Mount Adams, Mount Hood, Mount St. Helens, because they're all within this kind of 150-mile range from there. So, yes, and you know, just continuing Mount St. Helens with maybe a little bit less funny one, just the weakest ashhole of us all, to kind of finish it out. I'm not sure if there's more conversation going on now, but I think, you know, social media is great. That's what we're doing here. You know, we're on YouTube. You know, people are on X, Twitter, and Instagram and Facebook and all this stuff, and it's great. But it's kind of taking it to another level when you can kind of personify these mountains and volcanoes and have them start going after each other. So a fun article, a fun back and forth that happened the other day. So if you have Twitter, X, go out and look for that account from Mount St. Helens of Washington, and you know, Rob Karlmark, who is a meteorologist. I think that's what it says here. Yeah, meteorologist Rob Karlmark, who started it by singing the praises of Mount Shasta and Mount St. Helens, as they say here, immediately blew a gasket. So this is our little fun Friday. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more videos around travel for us, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.